I work in an open office space. It's about the size of a crib, very trough-like desks, and it's where I believe sound goes to die. And I'm your basic cut and paste spreadsheet type of lady worker. And you can often find me sitting at my desk, headphones on, listening to a Netflix while I turn a Word doc into a PDF for a dude 10 pay grades above me, because nobody really cares what you do as long as they don't hear you. And in my office, there are about 30 women and there are exactly 4 men. And 25% of that manhood is named Bill. And Bill is the answer to the centuries-old question of whose brother's cousin are you to have gotten this vice president's job? And, in spaces such as these, a bill, for example, one person can take up 90% of the energy and the air and the space in these rooms. And I don't have to see it or hear it to feel it. It's kind of like, for example, a person who might have a Ruth Bader Ginsburg's "When There Are 9" tattoo feels the patriarchy all around them wherever she goes. And on this Thursday afternoon, I have to make a meeting with my coworker, and I'm tired of my Slack words and my thumb conversations. She's right there. She is so close. Yeah, but she sits next to Bill, who is the answer to the ancient mystery of what would a meeting look like in human form. He is constantly with himself on his headphones at the shared kitchen table for 3 hours, and you pull back Arrested Development style to see Erin has sadly been eating her Chipotle lunch through the whole thing. It's you can lead a man to Microsoft Office, but you can't make him book a conference room. And it's 4:45 p.m. I am going on vacation tomorrow. I'm going over there. I'm doing this. And I get over there, and in my open office space, approved whisper, I start making this meeting. About 30 seconds in, Bill turns to his right, and he looks at me, and he says, "I'm on a very important phone call. Be quiet." See, what Bill doesn't know about me is that I'm at a competition at my gym on the Stairmaster. See, when you finish your workout, you can save your calories in your flights climbed, and you can save it with your initials on the screen so everybody else can see your achievements for the day. And there's a man, after his workouts, he saves it with the initials Dad. So I go in every morning and I find the Stairmaster that Dad's been on, and I beat his score. If he does 180, I do 200. If he does 200, I do 220. 220, I do 240. And I save my initials as Mom. So that when Dad comes in every morning and everybody else that day, they can see that every day Mom has beaten Dad. He doesn't know who I am. I know who he is, and I've been doing this for 4 years. I look at Bill, and I think, not today, Satan. And I say, "No, Bill, I'm talking." I finish making my meeting, I walk back to my desk, and I say to my supervisor, "Whatever he says that I did, I totally did. When HR sends the paperwork, don't worry, I'll sign it, because I've seen this movie before, and I'm going on vacation." And I leave, I come back the next week, and I discover an email that was sent 15 minutes after I walked away. And it says, "Dear Courtney, I couldn't tell if you were joking or not earlier today, but in shared spaces such as this, we need to be mindful, we need to be aware, we need to pay attention to one another." I tell my boss, and she says, "Well, this makes more sense now." And I say, "What makes more sense?" She says, "Well, the next day, I got a phone call on my cell phone at home on my day off from Bill. And he said, 'I sent Courtney an email, but she hasn't responded. I didn't get an apology yet.' So, you gonna tell her about that apology?" She says, "No, Bill, I'm not. Have a nice weekend." Hangs up. So then he goes to my boss's boss and says to her, "I talked to Courtney's supervisor, and she says that Courtney's not gonna give me an apology, but I think, I'm kind of a vice president and all. I think I deserve it, right? You know what I'm saying?" And she says, "No, Bill. Have a nice day." And then he goes to my boss's boss's boss and says to her, vice president to vice president, it's a respect thing now. An apology. I think it's earned, right? She says, "No, Bill. You can go now." Me, I just go back to my desk. My headphones on, listening to like the same Marvel movie for the 100th time, sending GIFs to my work wife, because I have to deal with 100 bills a day. And he only has to deal with like one Courtney his entire lifetime, and it is showing. I'm starting to drop off of email chains. Cool, I didn't want to respond to those anyway. My requests take a little longer to be replied to. My advice, it's not solicited as much anymore. That's fine. I can watch more movies on my phone. We do retreats, team building activities at work. They're often escape rooms. Well, now they need to start making 2 teams because they're afraid of locking Bill in a room with me. And in conferences and meetings, I just sit a little closer to him than I used to, just so he knows that I'm there. And then, say, for example, in a meetings, in Zoom and in person, someone might say, hey, Sarah, can you explain this new policy to me? And Bill, 2 departments removed from the answer, he cuts right in and starts giving his opinion with that, per my last email energy. And the rest of us, we're jumping into our side team chats like, oh my God, you've been billed, ha ha ha. And we're just like, who can get it in the fastest? It's become a competition. It's a point of pride. And then I find out over time that, when new employees are being onboarded, there's the official onboarding, and then there's your shadow onboarding. You get the real good stuff when they're asking what's the workplace like, and what's the culture, and what should I know, and what should I be worried about? And I have found out that I am the thing that they teach in onboarding now to new employees. It's not where's the copier and how do I put in a time off request? It's no, you need to hear about the no. And it's I'm winning. And if God exists, she is so excited for me, because the reality is, right, every day, everywhere I go, for most of my life, I'm reminded of the power I don't have and the places and the spaces that I'm not supposed to take up, right? So when I can take it, even just a little bit, once, for a hot second, I absolutely do. And I'm starting to wonder, am I Thomas Jefferson right now? Am I writing a new Declaration of Independence here? Where it's we hold these truths to be self-evident that all men can be told no? It feels so good. And I know the thing that has been driving him absolutely crazy is my joy. I did it once. I've never had to do it again. And it's the kind of joy that I can, women know, but I'm going to explain it to men too. It's the kind of joy that when you're driving down the nonprofit highway and a Bill pulls up behind you and he starts riding that bumper, you're I'm just going to pull off the gas, I'm going to come down to a cool 20 miles per hour, and I'm just going to start coasting, because I know that he's back there losing his mind. He can't turn around. He can't go around me. He's just stuck behind me as I just keep doing 20 miles per hour, even in a 50. I've still got my headphones on. I'm listening to the Avengers theme song in there, living my best life. I got nowhere else to be. I got nothing else to do. I can do this for easily another 2 years. Because gosh, Bill, you've been Courtneyed.